minutes in. Hey, everybody. So unfortunately, I have a hard stop at 12 today. I have to get right out at 12. So let's go through it. So what we're doing is hooking Jigsaw, the static site generator, up to, not Gatsby Starter, but up to Contentful, which is a headless CMS. And what I'm trying to do is basically build this thing right here. So basically what I did was I took the Jigsaw blog template last night and I just renamed the word post to recipe and the word blog to recipes. That's it. And then I threw in one of my favorite recipes. What I'm trying to do is track all my recipes together in one place, but also share with my friends, like, here are the recipes that I found that I really like. These are not my recipes. These are recipes I'm getting from other people. So what I want to do is I was going to build it, and I was like thinking through what I could build it in. And I said, you know what I've never done is do Jigsaw with something other than Jigsaw on the back end. So, you know, with normal Jigsaw, you're editing the back end in Markdown. And I was very curious to see what it would be like to instead edit Jigsaw in a CMS. And I know that anything that's basically an API source, you can hook into Jigsaw. So I could make a WordPress site and use a REST API or a Craft or whatever, but I know that Contentful is specifically built for that. So I figured, why don't we do Contentful? So one interesting part of the backstory is somebody at Contentful actually wrote up how to do it, but he did it before we had something called remote collections. So I want to show you all kind of step by step what we're doing here. So let me show you my ideas in Notion. Zoom in a little bit so you can all see it. Oh, great, John. So first thing we're going to do is recap how Jigsaw works, collections. Then we're going to set up our recipes. Actually, next thing I'm going to do is walk through the Jigsaw recipes site. Then we're going to set up our recipes in Contentful, and then finally we're going to talk through remote collections in Jigsaw and build that. So I've never actually done this before, so let's see how this works out. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Bogdanovich. So let's see how far we can make it in 47 minutes. So first thing, recapping how Jigsaw works. So let me show you all the basics of Jigsaw if you've never worked with it before. I'm going to try VS Code again, even though it wasn't working well the other day. Oh, hold on. I was just going to real quick get a piece of data in here that I didn't have. Let me grab that. Okay, cool. So in Jigsaw, if you have a collection, what that basically means is somewhere in here, usually in your config.php, you've got something that's kind of defining. So config.php is all the config, but when you go into this collections key right here, this is defining your collection. So I have a collection named recipes. And what that means is, and this right here is all the default information that's going to be passed either to the collection itself, things like sort, or to the individual page, things like author. So for your collections, if you set a path here, it's actually going to generate each entry from that collection to this, basically this URL in the final build. And then I'm telling it what template I want it to use and what section to pass the content of each of those in. So just so you get a sense of how that works, if I go to source, you're going to see that collection down here under underscore recipes. And underscore means don't build these files as directly as files. If this was recipes, it would actually just build these as files, which is fine, but you wouldn't get the full functionality of collections. So by doing underscore recipes, that means this doesn't get built, and instead it's just accessible for things like this. And so this recipes thing right here looks for this folder and it grabs it. So these here are all my recipes. As you can see, only one of them is a recipe. The rest of them are just left over from when I used the Jigsaw blog template. So what it's saying is grab bestburgerever.md, pass it a default author of Matt Stauffer, generate the final path at mysite.com/recipes/bestburgerever/. All the content of Best Burger Ever, like the main Markdown content, should be passed into a blade section called content. And then the blade template it's going to pass it into is the layouts.recipe one. So we'd go look at Best Burger Ever, and you got your basic metadata, like the title and the date. This is the date added, quick description for meta, a cover image if we have it, whether or not it's a featured recipe, the source, and then any categories that it's in. And then down here, this is just the instructions. Obviously, if I was building this in Laravel, I would have one that's like, the instructions, and it might be like each one might be an individual entry in a database, like step one's an instruction, whatever. And of course, these would all be individual database items. You can build stuff like that in Markdown, like in YAML, but it doesn't seem to be the best fit for YAML for me right now. So if this were a Jigsaw tutorial, we would walk through how to build this kind of stuff in YAML. It's possible. But right now, we can get the majority of the way by just doing this. The main reason it would be helpful to make this kind of stuff structured data is so you could say things like, here's all the ingredients I have, which recipes work for me, or can you give me this same recipe times 2, or something like that. Those things would be a lot, or give me all recipes that have onion in them. Those would be a lot easier to do if we had structured data, but I don't need that right now. Maybe we'll deal with that once we get into Contentful. So in general, we have a recipe, and then our recipe gets passed into, remember, it was underscore layouts.recipe. And when we said this section is content, that means everything from here down goes into the content section in Blade. So let's go over to underscore layouts.recipe, and we're going to see a content section there. So it extends the master layout. It pushes meta in based on the fact that it knows that it's a an article. So we actually might change the OG type to something other than article. If anybody feels like it, can you go see if there's an OG type for a recipe? But yeah, it just pulls all this information out. And then this is the stuff that, this used to be the blog post template, but now it's the recipe template. And so it just basically grabs the stuff out of the YAML and builds like this display page that we're seeing right here. And that's basically what is happening. So like this if page categories is this right here. And then this is that content section that's being yielded. And then of course we get a little bit of wonderful pagination for free because that's stuff that Jigsaw gives you by default for collections. So that's Jigsaw in general. So if somebody were to want to come along and add a new recipe, I'll show you the flow real quick. So let me actually, what was the recipe I built real quick? Or I made this weekend. Oh, my favorite pancake recipe, Martha Stewart basic pancake recipe. It's like I've made these pancakes for my kids like so many freaking times. So we're going to add this in real quick, and I want to show you what the process of adding this in looks like. So, and then we're going to add it to Contentful and then see what that process is like. So let's make sure we've committed the work we've done here. I think I added, yeah. Adds. Oh, you know what? I added that source. Also, let's look real quick about what it looks like to pull stuff out of it. So best burger ever. I added this new property here called source. And if you have a source, I want to link that that's where it came from, right? Because if you go to my template right now, this doesn't actually say that I got this from all recipes. It's kind of acting like it's my recipe, which it definitely is not, right? Closest might be article. Okay, thanks, Chris. I appreciate you looking at it. And thanks for hanging out. Okay, let's see how well Restream lets me block users. All right, I hit block user on that person who's spamming. Does it? Does their content go away in Twitch and YouTube? If not, I can go to the individual admin profiles in YouTube and Twitch and get rid of them. Okay, so I want to add the source here. So let's go to the recipe. And this is just to kind of make sure that y'all kind of have a good general understanding of how Jigsaw works if you've never worked with it before. So I'm thinking right now, maybe I'll just put the source right here. I mean, who knows if that's where it's going to end up. So author, bullet point, date, right? So this is not necessarily going to be there. It's going to maybe be there. So let's build this thing out to instead be something where I can easily add some conditionals. So if page source, and basically if you don't have it, YAML's not going to throw an error. Hey, you're asking for source and I don't have it. It's just going to return null. And so you can say, I have a source, right? Of course, you want that little bullet. So just got here looking forward to learning something. Welcome, Jeffrey. Oh, I hit refresh as if this is going to work. So first of all, we're in the live site, not my local site. But second of all, we're working with a static site generator. So we need to go to mattcooking.test, I think is what I named it. And then go over to this best hamburger ever. Now, the good thing is Jigsaw, by default, has something in its package.json. So if you go to package.json real quick, there's this wonderful thing called dev, or watch. So watch is an NPM command, but it doesn't just watch your styles and generate them. It also watches your your Blade and Markdown files and reruns the Jigsaw generation process when they change. So if I run npm run watch, I'm actually going to get kind of live reloading of my static site stuff, not just the message still exists on Twitch. Okay. I do have a moderator, Jake Bathman, but I don't know if Jake's here right now, so I'm going to go see if I can just kind of get rid of that message. Oh, I can't get rid of the message because I can't see old stream chats. All right, so I will keep... I'm going to pop out the... I'm going to pop out... How do I pop out my chat? They changed the user interface for that. I don't know. Sorry, everybody. I wish I knew how to mod you, Marissa. Hold on. Say that again. Hold on. Okay, I have this Twitch chat open. Oh, maybe, I can click on the little users and chat thing. Okay. And then Marissa. Okay, how do I mod you? Add friend, whisper, mod. Okay, great. Thank you. As you all know, I'm not like a super experienced streamer. So... Okay, so refresh, we should see I have a source, and we should go to another hamburger, and we should see not I have a source. Thanks, Jake. So the fact that Jake had to ban that person means that hitting block and restream wasn't enough. So that's frustrating. Okay, so we go to another one. It does not say I have a source because this one doesn't have a source, right? So let's go over here. Instead of I have a source, we actually want to link it. So what we're going to say in this context is ahref equals page source and then source. And so if it doesn't have a source, now in theory, one thing I could do is if it doesn't have a source, I could say something like my original recipe. But for now, I think this is fine. Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's a little bit of hectic. I tried to really do prep work so that all we would do is one single thing today. And obviously that didn't work out very well in my favor. So I am sorry, and especially on a day when I have a really hard stop at the end of the day. It's my son's last day of school. So his teachers are having one big Zoom hangout. And they want the families to join. So, okay, so we've got the source link there. So let's just add a thing that says link source, and then let's move over to Contentful. Matt cooking, and then add sources to recipes. Okay, cool. Target blank, good thinking. I actually almost went and did it and then totally forgot about it. Okay, cool. Hey, Cook Racing UK. Okay, cool. So what we are going to do now, I believe if my Notion plan is correct, we recapped how Jigsaw works, and then I walked you through the Jigsaw recipe sites really quickly. And there's a lot of other stuff going on here. This is a public repo. It's at github.com/mattstauffer/ what did I name it? Like Matt Cooking or something? I think I might have named it there too. Yep, I'll probably rename this. Why don't I just rename this right now to cookingrecipes.mattstauffer.com, actually. I don't think that's going to break anything. Okay, so it's going to be live there for everybody. All right, so now let's go over to Contentful, where I know a lot. I don't mind about passing them some Google juice, actually. That's okay. I don't care about the rel no follow or whatever. So now I want to walk through Contentful. So this is the place where I don't know what I'm doing. And then after we get it in content, you know what? Let's just add a single thing in Contentful, which is the title. And we'll deal with all the rest of it later. And then I want to move into Jigsaw remote collections. And then, of course, once we actually get that pulling the data correctly, then we can worry about getting all the stuff in Contentful. So I signed up for Contentful yesterday. I created a new space, which is, I guess, like a set of data. And I added a new content model called recipe that doesn't seem to be here. So what I guess is I probably created it and never finished creating it because it needed like more than I needed. So let's just do this. Recipe, API identify recipe. I'm hoping this isn't supposed to be plural. You know what? Let's go to the sample one they gave me to see if their API contents models are supposed to be. Okay, so there's okay, well, I'm just going to say recipe. And if somebody tells me it's supposed to be recipes, that's just fine. I could read the documentation, but who reads the documentation, right? All right, time to add some fields. See, I did this yesterday. Oh, but I hadn't hit save. That's why. All right, so we're going to give it a text title. Short text exact search. Yes. Not a list. Create and configure. All right, it's got a title. It's a title. It does represent the entry title. We don't need localization. Validation, it is required. This is awesome. It is unique. Okay, I see you, Contentful. Appearance, it's going to be a single line. Don't need help text. Okay, cool. So this is, oh, and there's a preview what our JSON will look like. So let's go save that content type for now. Yeah, nobody got time for that, no kidding. At least on a stream, but okay, cool. So we have that. So now let's, oh, you know what I was going to do, everybody? I was going to add this one real quick locally to show you what it looked like. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. So let's add easy basic pancakes so you can see what the process looks like of adding a recipe. So the easiest way to do it, honestly, is to build a little shell script called like add recipe. So if you've ever worked with any of my Jigsaw sites, almost all of them have a, and I don't have a ton of them, but almost all of them have a little shell script that basically, all right, just kidding, basically allows you to add whatever. So if you're going to add a site to built with Jigsaw, you do this little shell script and it walks you through the whole process of creating the things. And it's really simple. It's just basically a series of prompts formatted nicely that then ends up generating your YAML or whatever. So that's kind of, so if I were to keep this in normal recipe stuff, I would build a add recipe shell script that I'd run all the time. So that makes it work a little bit faster, and sometimes even build like a user interface through, what's it called? This thing, Alfred or something like that. But that's easy, but not as easy as it could be. So what I'm curious about, because you don't want to paste like an entire recipe into a shell prompt or something. So what I'm curious is, how can we make that easier? So what I was going to say is the easiest way to do these sorts of things is to go to your code editor to find the recipes directory and just duplicate the previous. I won't create one from scratch. Let's duplicate a previous one. So we're going to duplicate, and we're going to name it Martha Stewart Basic Pancakes. So you go in here, and then you just make all the changes. Martha Stewart. What does she call them? Easy Basic Pancakes. The date today is the 22nd, which means I should make my best burger. Oh, I was doing this after 12. Let's make this one back to the 21st, so they're on different dates. Description. I like to just grab their descriptions as much as possible, even if they're cheesy, because it's a recipe site. I don't have a cover image. Why not? Let's let it be featured, and let's give it the source. It's going to have a category called breakfast, which I don't have yet. So I go over to category. So when you're working in these things like categories and tags, there's two ways to do it. One, which is what I do in my blog, where you just type whatever you want here, but then it's not as much of a first-class citizen. Or two, where you actually add a new entry for every single one. So here I'm going to duplicate grill. I'm going to name it breakfast. And then I'm going to call this breakfast. And this seems a little bit unnecessary because the description in the title is food for breakfast. Whenever you eat it. And literally the same thing. So again, I don't, this is something we could probably do a little bit of work on. Current month is 5. Oh my goodness. Thanks, you. April. It's close enough. Best burger ever. All right. That is actually why I had done it. I set it to a month before, so it didn't look like the recent one. So I'll make this for. I think I did that on purpose last night, but I should have changed it to something that was not the same day, so I didn't get confused. All right. So we are going to keep it featured. Okay, great. So thanks everybody. It's May. I'm bad at math sometimes. All right, and now I come in and I grab the things. So like I did last time, I'm just going to throw the ingredients in a bulleted list. And then, let's come here, grab this. Oops, and I got extra lines. Cool, and then let's do instructions. And then I put my instructions here. Maybe I should call it directions instead of instructions. I'm not sure. Week 60 plus of work from home for me. Yeah, no kidding. What does that say? Work from home forever. Yeah, I mean we've been working from home for actually. So I worked from an office. So I am in a different setting because I'm now working from actual home. Let's see. How many steps were there? No, man. I could do. I'm trying to do. Grab all these. But when I do this, it is case insensitive, so it's grabbing the ones that are in line, so it's not what I want. And I'm sure that there's a way to tweak that. I know how to tweak it in Sublime Text. I don't know how to tweak it in VS Code, and I can't think of the regex for that in Vim off the top of my head. So instead, I'm going to do this. 100 messages, good deal. Work from home, back to the office, moving back to Ireland. Oh, cool, Marissa. I didn't know that. How long have you known that? So this is one interesting thing right here. Pancake variations is leaving us in a place where this does not just fit in a normal step-by-step thing, right? There's like a subcategory of this. And so I've got to... Oh, congratulations, Marissa. So that means I got to figure out whether our content structure will eventually make space for this kind of idea, pancake variations. But right now, I'm going to just say no, and I'm just going to say variation buttermilk, variation yogurt. But yeah, this is an interesting thing right here where they're, and they got in that same problem that I had where these are not really steps, but they were able to add this subheader. So. Okay, so let's build this out. Actually, maybe we don't have to build it because I think that's still running npm run watch. So let's see if we have a, nope. Oh, we do right here. Martha Stewart's Easy Basic Pancakes. Source, breakfast category, ingredients, instructions. Okay, so you see, this is okay. That wasn't maybe the easiest experience ever for adding something, but it wasn't awful. But also this data is not structured at all. It's all literally just kind of text. And that would be enough for me for now. That's probably what I would keep it at. But I am curious to see what does it look like to do that instead in Contentful. So let's say add Martha Stewart pancakes. All right. So let's go here. We've got this recipe. So I got some notes from Keith Damiani, who is the person who added collections and remote collections to Jigsaw. But before I go there, I'm going to go to the Jigsaw documents, or the docs, documentation. And we're going to go really quickly look at, so remember we looked at what collections are before, so now let's look at a remote collection. You can, in addition to using Markdown or Blade for your collection items, you can return collection items directly from the collections array in config.php. That allows you to generate items programmatically. For example, you can fetch items from remote source, such as an external API or API-based content management systems like Contentful, Graph CMS, or Data CMS. So you want to return an array or collection of items from the collections configuration array. So basically, you remember how we had our collections and then the collection name? So we want items, and that's going to have all of our items. So first thing we're going to do right now is just do a fake remote collection. So we're going to go to config.php, and we're going to add something called items. And we'll probably get errors because I'm not going to pass all the things it needs. So that items thing right there is going to be all of our recipes. And this is going to be our first recipe. And it's going to be my best recipe, or a title, my best recipe. And let's see what happens when we try to build that. Oh, yeah, there you go. It's asking for things that can't be used. So let's give it a date. Okay, 2020 05 22. Let's see what errors we get now. This member format on a bool. Oh, that's a nice little loop. Surface. Yeah, I know, man. Jigsaw's the greatest. Okay, I'm pretty sure this format is okay. Recipe preview inline. Recipe preview inline. On what line? Doesn't tell me, but it's calling format somewhere here. Yeah, it's weird. I thought that was date. So let's go just grab real quick all the YAML off of our Martha Stewart recipe. Yeah, date 2020 05 22. Okay, well let's just put all the rest of them in here. Description equals best. Featured equals true. We don't need a source. I don't think we need categories. So now let's try again to build this and see how it treats us. I wonder why we're getting that call to member function format on bool when the bool, oh, sorry, I hadn't saved the date showing. But it's not a bool, it's the date. Okay, so let's just do vendor bin jigsaw build with as much information as we can get. Okay, so stack trace in this particular template, which I think the template will still be there. Let's go check real quick. Oh, it's going to try and open it in Xcode. I don't want that, please. So let's vim that and see if that file's still there. Okay, and then what line is it? It's line 9. Okay, so it's saying featured recipe, get date, format. So that's so weird because I'm pretty sure the get date method, let's go look at the get date method real quick. It looks for the page date. So why is it not working? Good old dump and die driven development. Dump and die driven development, DDDD. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Vendor bin, Jigsaw build. So that right there is definitely not a Boolean. I wonder if there's other items that are coming back. Let's see if we're running through this get date thing more than one time. There might be something I don't know about here. Nope. So this is never running, and yet somehow when it tries to run that format, it's getting this call to a member function format on a bool. Member function format on a bool. So somehow what's coming back from this datetime create from format is a Boolean. All right? Is anybody, are you all following me? I know you're being chatty, but I feel like I'm losing my mind here. Okay, so let's just take a look at this. I think it's all happening in here. So let's say return equals this. And then datetime create from format should be an instance of datetime. So if, I think it would be return instance of datetime, then that, right? And so we should always have an instance of datetime here, right? Hopefully. But it's getting null. Okay, well, that's a start. We are getting null. So instead, let's throw new exception here and see why we're getting it to be a null. I don't know if it's actually going to tell me. Is U the epoch date format? Well, the interesting thing is, Chris, oh, no, right. I shouldn't. What did I was? Yeah, it's page data. So somehow page data is coming back as null. Yeah, whoever said I should have DD page, you're right. We should figure out what page is giving us a null date. It is the base URL. Is that? Yes, the site name is that. But what title are we on? It's this one. But the date is right there. How is... Oh, hold on. That's, sorry. That's... You see, that's the problem, which it's that the items is collected in there. I put in data and it's date. Oh, did I type something wrong? Y'all, did I just type it wrong in here? No, date right there. Where did I put data? No, I didn't put data anywhere. Right? Am I losing my mind somewhere? Okay, cool. Okay, sometimes the nesting of all of these things can throw me off a little bit. Well, so Chris, the problem is it's not the problem of how we're processing it. It's the fact that the data that is getting passed in, the string that is getting passed in at datetime is null. So what I'm trying to figure out is what page are we on here that is giving us a null thing. Problem is because this page object is like a God object, it has so much going on that sometimes it's hard, especially when you're rushing and trying to engage with the chat, to figure out what page you're on. This is the My Best Recipe page. And somehow the date thing, oh, I probably did data here. That's probably what you're saying. And you're probably right. Okay, so there you go. We're back in the same place. So if the return is not instance of datetime, and it is happening, so let's figure out what return is then. It's coming through to false, and that's where you all are talking about. Oh, okay, cool. We're good here. You guys were good. So what the problem is here, I bet, is that our YAML processor is probably converting this date to a U, and when we do it as an item here, it's probably not. So I'm pretty sure you all caught it before I did, and I'm just an idiot. So yeah. So let's, for now, just switch this over to YMD. I just wrongly thought, I'd wrongly thought that we had ensured that it was null at some point. Okay. Is it not YMD maybe? Is it YMJ or something like that? You know what? What if I just do this? It's a very reasonable format. I'm pretty sure datetime can intuit it. Nope, I'm wrong. Oh, is it not create? It's like new datetime or something. Okay. Man, y'all, this is not my best day. PHP. I feel like I've said that every day for the last 2 months, though. YouTube has a delay in comments back to me. Oh, yeah, they should all have like a 3 or 4 or 5 second delay, but it's possible that it's even worse right now. All right, capital Y for year. This is not where I wanted to get stuck, y'all. Yeah, but I want it to be a datetime object, so I kind of want to just keep it here. Y, and then M is 01, and then maybe D. No, that's right, YMD. What's going on here? Wishing use carbon? No. Create from date. Parse, that's the one. I don't know if datetime has parse, and I don't know if we have carbon here. So, interesting thing is I actually didn't write that. That's from the template, but I was the one who was responsible for making the template happen. So let's try carbon, parse. Oh, of course, it wouldn't work when you pass both of them. Carbon, parse this. Does that work? No, of course it doesn't work. Yeah, we don't have carbon. Does datetime have parse? Am I going to waste my entire time dealing with dates instead of actually building the thing? No, date time has been part. So let's go back here. Create from format. Am I wrong, y'all? Isn't that y-m-d? Who cares about starter time? Just help me here, everybody. Help me out. y-m-d, right? Capital Y, full numeric representation of a year, 4 digits. Lowercase m, month with leading zeros. D, lowercase d, day of the month, 2 digits with leading zeros. Okay. Adrian, we didn't need to import carbon because this is not in a oh, it would have been carbon. Okay, I will try one more time. Return carbon parse page date. I'm getting flustered, everybody. Sounds good, doesn't work, yeah. None of the views in the given array exist. I ran into this problem yesterday. What was that problem? But it's a different problem than we're running into right now. A non-well-formed numeric value was encountered. Okay, I'm lost. Yeah, let's just do this. Thank you, whoever suggested that. I just want, oh my God, it's not even billing with that. That doesn't, okay. Y'all, what is going on here? I think we broke everything. My typing lines off the screen, not again. We really did break everything. I definitely worked hard to fix that. Let me see where y'all can still see it. Right here, huh? Okay. None of the views in the given array exist. I actually ran into this last night, but it was totally a different problem. It had something to do with the views for the so basically what's happening there, yeah, this is gonna have to be a 2-week stream, everybody. I'm sorry about this. What was happening when this thing happened is that the recipe is RSS item.blade.php was looking, it basically tries to load the temporary version of it. And I wonder if this doesn't right here does not work with remote collections. So I'm just going to ignore this and just break it. Sorry, RSS broken for now. Yeah. What is these non-well-formed numeric values? I feel like that's part of our problem. In line 16, there's nothing there because it deletes the things in the cache afterwards. Okay. Woof. Woofity woof woof. All right, so let's just go here and see how our single generated recipe. Interesting. So if you use remote collections, oh, that might be part of our problem. If you use remote collections, it also loads the real collections. So let us that's what we were when we would modify it for the remote collection, then it broke after. That's the thing. Okay, so noted. If you use remote collections, then it still loads the local collections. So now, if we do a generate, it will just, it'll just run on ours. Okay, so we're a little bit better off. We're only going to have my best recipe. And when the non-well-formed numeric value, it has to do with when it's trying to render the date. So now this is something we can actually work with. It is right here, and it tries to pass page date into FJY. So now let's look at what page date looks like here. It is a string, and we're expecting a datetime object, right? Shouldn't it be a datetime object because of this get date thing? That's why I'm so confused about this. Oh, it's not running on get date, it's running on the thing itself. Okay, cool. So here's what I'm going to do really quickly. I'm going to see what we're getting out of the YAML processor really quickly. Let's see what we get out of the YAML processor. I'm sorry for people who are not following. I just want to know what everything's expecting right now. What? Okay, great. This is what I want. Let's come in here and just really quickly see what is coming directly out of the YAML processor. It might be a like a time object. Null. Oh, because I typed data again. Whew. Yeah, I think you all were right there. Yeah, okay, so that's why. The YAML processor, that's why we got lost. If I have an item named hamburger, oops. What happened to my burger? If I come in here and I put this date as this, the YAML processor converts it to a PHP time object. But if I put it in the remote collection, it stays a string, and that's our problem. That was it. Timey-wimey. Yeah, this is not, just so you all know, yeah, is that what you is? Yeah, and I didn't think that was it because, first of all, I typed data, so I thought it was null, and second of all, I didn't understand that that was happening. So, Adrian, Carbon Parse does not take care of it because we tried it already, and it worked inconsistently across the other ones. So, thank you, but it's not enough. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do this right here. I'm going to allow both the local ones and the remote ones to stick around just for a second. And I'm going to say if page data date. So we want to catch it as a string. If it's a string, because I think the other one will be an integer, then I want to convert that string to, no, you know what? I'm not even going to bother with it. I am instead going to just get rid of all the local ones. That's what I'm going to do, because that's a silly thing because it's in 12 minutes and this is all going to be gone in the end anyway. So instead of this, we want to, what? This get date thing is blowing my mind because it's expecting it. Isn't it this expecting the format to be YMD? And we're passing it YMD, but it's not liking it. But am I wrong? Doesn't datetime create from format say this is the format it should be in and then now turn it into a datetime object? Or maybe that's probably just because am I misunderstanding what create from format does? I really thought that that's what it does. So I thought that would come out of this getDate object would be a datetime object. That's create from format. Isn't that what this is right here? Create from format. Okay, cool. So that's what we got. So this right here should be expecting a string shaped like YMD, and that's what we're giving it. God, there's been the whole freaking time on a date. So that should work. But when we build it, we get a non-form thing because I think down here, this recipe is expecting something else. So what we're going to do is we're just going to not worry about it. And we're literally just going to echo page data. And later, what we can do is take page, oh no, hold on. Would it be page get date? Date expects parameter 2 to be int. Okay, so can you do 2 time string or something like that? I think somebody pasted that a minute ago. Yep, Marissa, page get date. Chris, the second date parameter is supposed to Unix timestamp. Yep, totally. How do we convert it to a timestamp out of date time? Did you string it? Have to turn down your offer of second date. This is embarrassing for us both. 2 timestamp. Oh, not time string. Thanks. Jeez. Yeah, timestamp. God, you all have all seen me at my worst. Oh, get timestamp. Thank you. Good Lord. I had no idea this would be the problem. And it's still not working because it's getting a non-well-formed thing. But it's okay because this one's working. Oh my God. Total breakdown. Okay. So can in 10 minutes we replace this items thing with a call to Contentful. That's really all we're trying to do here is get it to not be broken, and then replace this right here with a call to Contentful. Happy frickin' Friday. Yeah, dates are the worst problem. Even if it's not a date problem, it's a date formatting problem. That's the thing that blows my mind. And the thing is, this probably is not what it's going to come back like from Contentful anyway, so we're going to have to make the change. Okay, so let's... Thank you, everybody, for... Even if you gave me a suggestion and I didn't get it at first because I didn't get what was going on, thank you. So here is what Keith gave me beforehand to give me a little bit of a cheat code. We want to pull in the PHP library for Contentful. And then he said, there's a PHP intro for Contentful here, which will stay in the show notes. And also before remote collection, somebody wrote up how to do it right here. And so what we want to do is basically modify their code, but now to use remote collections, which I was going to do on the stream. However, Keith actually gave me his idea of what it should look like. And so since he did, and we only have 9 minutes and I'd like for it to be working, oh yeah, I've done all that stuff before. I just want to do it again. I'm actually just 100% going to steal exactly the code that Keith suggested to me. So what he suggested right here for this items thing is we build a class that takes the responsibility of doing that for us, so we're not trying to do it inline. And you notice here that instead of doing an array, he does a function. The function apparently naturally gets past config, which is cool. Or, what's it called? An anonymous function closure. And then, interestingly, I've got to figure out, does composer.json actually auto-load anything, or do we need to add app/listeners is the only thing? So we need to create our own, what was his proposed namespace? App/contentful. So let's just do that. And we don't have an app directory here. Let's just make a source directory. And in it, we're going to call that PSR4 will probably be just, app. So under here, we're going to make a Contentful directory, and then we're going to make a whatever Keith suggested, which I think was Contentful collection. Contentful collection.php. Great. Then let's add that autoload to our composer.json. So that's going to be, there is an app namespace natively defined here. Interesting. So we could move that listeners thing in there later, but I'm just going to do this app/contentful app. Actually, I'm just going to do app to the source directory. I don't think that's going to make the listeners thing break, although I'm not actually 100% sure. All right, so this should be... Oh my gosh. Okay, and we're literally just going to steal his code, like wholesale, 100%, and then just see if it works. Because if we can get this working on this stream, I'm going to be so happy. So notice that we're getting my space ID and my access token out of .env. So let's make a .env file. New file relative project root, .env. And then, yes, please. New file relative to project root, .env. Okay. All right, thanks, Marissa. So next stream, definitely not time zones, y'all. So let's touch.env, touch.env.example, modify our getIgnore, and add .env to it. And then, .env.example. What are we pulling? Contentful access token, and then Contentful space ID. Okay, so I'm going to need to go get those two keys and be back in a second. But so you can see, remember, we required the Contentful client, and we have the idea of building a query. And what Keith wrote for us, thank you, Keith, is that we are going to instantiate a client here. Now, if we were in Laravel, you could do this in a service provider, but when we construct it, we're going to new up this client based on those env keys. And then this get post method builds a query, setting the content type to recipe. And it says order by the publish date, which we don't actually have. So I'm curious whether publish date is a magical Contentful thing or not, descending. And then for each of the entries it returns, we're going to map it, and we're going to get the title and the content, which is good. So in theory, if I get these two environment keys set up correctly, we're going to be good to go, in theory. So let me get those as fast as I can, because I have a hard stop, and I would really, why can't you all see me? I'd really like to get this thing working on the stream, and I'm not 100% sure it's going to happen. but let me go to Contentful and grab them. All right, so I need a space ID, which I think is just out of the URL. So you all already know the space ID because you saw it in my URL structure, but what you don't know is my magic key. So let me throw the space ID in there and then figure out as fast as I can, how do I find my access token? 4 minutes, or as in daytime's term, undefined. All right, how do I get an access token out of this? There's an OAuth application section, which I kind of guess would be that. So I'm going to go new application. Actually, no, I'm going to let y'all see this while I do it. Thanks for following MDE Price. Okay, I'm logged in here. I'm going to go, oh, tokens. No, I want a token. I want a personal access token. Great. So I am going to make it go away for you guys. I don't have to build an OAuth thing because I can just make an access token. All right, so I'm going to generate a personal token called local development recipe site. I'm going to hit generate. Today you learned from Adrian. Oh, carbon parse and carbon parse are the same thing. Yeah, exactly. Carbon parse should have handled it, but for some reason it threw an error. I think the error ended up being, Adrian, not that it was a parsing error, but it was that later some things expected a carbon instance and some things didn't. All right, I've got this key. I'm going to go put it in .env, and then I'm going to bring you all back up to see it, and then we're going to hit run, and if it doesn't work, which the likelihood that it runs on the first time is pretty low, except for the fact that Keith wrote this, and so maybe Keith is so good that he was able to write it in a way where I couldn't break it. We will see. So let me bring you all back. OBS. All right, so we are going to run this, and the error was my blade. Yeah, well, the error was in two places, Adrian. It was both in the blade, but it was also the fact that we had two different types of recipes. Some that were generated from my items thing, and some that were generated from the local ones, and they had different dates on them. So Keith is very good. He's extremely talented. Okay, so we're going to try it, and we're going to see what happens. Vendor bin jigsaw build with 3 minutes left to go. Is it going to work? Of course not. Uncaught error, contentful collection. So we might need to run composer dump autoload, but let's make sure it actually at least source contentful, contentful collection, class contentful collection, under app contentful, and composer.json does have that. Okay, so let's do a composer dump autoload and then try it again. Class, okay. Oh, because I need to import it in the config. Look at that. Nope, just kidding. Whatever I just did, I did not do it on purpose. I'm confident the moment I look at chat, there's going to be somebody saying, make sure you import it. Oh, no, there isn't. Great. What's up, 6live3? Haven't seen you in a while, bud. The access token you sent could not be found or is invalid. Access token invalid. Well, that's not the problem I expected. Okay, so the space is HS4N. Oh, where'd my contentful go? So let's go over to my recipes. The space is HS4N and ends in JCL. Yes. Oh, my mouse just stopped working. Everything is awesome. There we go. Oh, nope. Oh my God. See you later, Chris. env was left without values because I had it open in Vim. Yeah, my mouse is just broken, so I'm going to use my oh my goodness. I'm going to use I'm checking out my .env. No, yeah, .env definitely has a contentful access token, and it is the one I copied, and it has a contentful space ID. So can we figure out the problem there in this amount of time? Oh, right. I keep trying to use this mouse. This mouse doesn't work. All right. So the space ID is correct for my recipes. And then I definitely made I went to settings and I definitely made a API key. That was wait. Your space is using one key. How is this different from the thing I saw before? So there's apps, API keys, but then I was just a second ago at a totally different thing that was called personal access tokens. But now it's not there. Okay. Oh, I had gone over here to account settings. So personal access tokens, that's what I used, but apparently didn't work. So I'm going to see if instead of a personal access token, I should have had an API key. Why not? All right. So again, I'm going to hide this from y'all for a second on my awkward mouse situation. Yeah, I've been hiding my screen every time I mess with keys. Thank you, Marissa. Add API key. My recipes 1, space ID, content delivery API, access token, content preview API. I think this is going to be the delivery API. Okay. So let me set this one up in my .env instead. Once again, awkwardly. Okay, exiting out. I can bring you all. Thanks for hanging out, Zuzana. So many APIs, no kidding. All right, share full screen. We're going to try it one more time. If it doesn't work, whether or not it works, I got to cut. So, no field with undefined publish date. Oh, hold on. I knew that because I was expecting it not to be publish date, but this is going to be the Contentful collection. I expected it not to be publish date, but date. So let's try that. I was wondering if that was a magic Contentful thing or not. It's probably not. No field with undefined date. Oh, because I don't think we actually put a date in it. We're going to order it by the title for now. Okay, let's go add a recipe super fast. We might have got it working. Pancakes. Oops, pancakes. Publish. Trying to access non-existent field body on an entry content. Oh, right, because it's trying to get the body and we never added body to this. And it needs at least a body. So I think your content model has to have at least a content type called body, because that's going to be like equivalent to what the markdown thing is. And so we want, I didn't want to add a content type. I want to go to recipe and I wanted to add a field named body. I think we want it to be not rich text, maybe rich text. I don't know what rich text come through as. Let's just try that. Create and configure. Formatting options, appearance. Okay, cool. So let's go back to our recipe, pancakes. I love pancakes. And then see how it does. Is there a save button here somewhere? Or is it just live editing when I do this? Nope. I love pancakes. Okay, how do I save it? Oh, it changed. Okay, cool. Take 2. Come on. Dates are still killing us. Yeah, so we don't have a date, and it's trying to format the date. And so then we have to go to our content model, and we have to have a date, and then we have to add that date with the right format, which it probably won't be. Man, I really wanted to get this ready. All right, so let's add a date. I know I'm a little bit late for my son's meeting, but I just really want this to work, honestly. Set the date to be May 1st. All right. Changed. Does that mean you're going to save it? Okay, and then it'll probably throw an error when we try to get that date. So Conditional rich text. Okay. So it's because we used a rich text thing. So let's really quickly, man, y'all, I'm so close. We're going to change our body to be not rich text temporarily. Oh my God, I deleted it. No, delete the whole way through is what I said. Save content type first. Okay. Now delete it. Save it. Now please make it go away so I can create a new one with the same name. Thank you. Add normal text field, body, create. All right. Trying to access non-existent field body and entry of content type recipe. Save changes. All right. One last thing I'm going to try. Of course, date's coming back as null. And I did type date this time, not data, right? Yep. It's coming back as null. Okay. That's got to be it. It's Friday. It's the most stressful ever. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't be stressed. I just wanted to get it all done in an hour. I'm going to go hang out with my son. I'll figure out what's wrong. I don't know if I'm going to do it in the next stream because it was close. Maybe next stream I'll build one again, knowing what I'm doing. But maybe we'll try it with something else other than Contentful. That's probably what I'll try and do is I bet you that what I'll do is I'll rebuild this on top of a different API client like WordPress or something like that. It'd be cool to be able to build this with lots of different backing sources. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for your wonderful, wonderful, wonderful help. You all were great, especially when I was stressed. And I'm very grateful for you all. So see you all next time. Yeah, WordPress or Craft or something else that exposes an API. Let me know on Twitter @StaufferMatt. Let me know if there's a different headless CMS situation that I should try out. See y'all later.